Hello, boxing fans. Happy New Year to you. This is Kenny B on the official call with his co-host, the Birdman, Robert Bird. And we got some good stuff to talk about today. And what I am referring to is when you see a referee do this signal, that means that he is indicating to either the fighter to the right, if we do it with our right hand, or the fighter to the left, when we do it with our left hand. If we do it with both hands, we're saying, watch your heads. Watch your heads. That's the signal that you should know if you see a referee do it. And as we get started, the Birdman is going to, like he always does in a very elegant way, is go over the rules as to how we apply the rules when that situation happens.
Oh, and thank you, Kenny, and Happy New Year.
Yes,
Looking
sir.
forward to a wonderful year here on the official call. And like you said, today we are going to be talking about a foul, which is pretty common, actually, within boxing, especially when we have an orthodox fighter fighting a southpaw fighter, okay, because they're both on the same side and the heads are going to come together. But basically, what I want to do is talk about uh, what we do when we talk about when we do a training seminar
Mm-hmm.
for referees or for others. How do we start off dealing with whatever it is that we have in front of us?
Yes.
And so what basically I'm saying is what we have to do is look at what is going on in the ring and then determine what is it that I just saw.
Yes.
What did I just see?
Yes.
Once we determine that, okay, then we have to determine what rule applies to what I just saw.
Yes.
Okay? And once we determine what rule applies to what it is I just saw, then we have to figure out how do I bring about compliance with that rule.
Yes.
Okay? So what we're talking about is headbutts. And so what is the rule that applies to that? Well, the rule is this. Butting with the head, the shoulder, knee, or elbow, and more, we're beginning to see, and with the forearm, all of these constitute a butt.
Yes.
That is a foul. The rule is that you can't do that. Okay?
Yes.
One we're going to be focusing on is the headbutt.
Yes.
Okay? And what we've already talked about is what is the rule? Okay? That the rule is that you can't utilize your head. Okay? And if you do, that is a foul. It constitutes a foul.
Yeah.
And so what we have to do now is figure out how do we go about bringing about compliance with a violation of that rule, i.e.
Yes.
the headbutt.
Yes.
And it can be one of two things. It can be something that is done intentionally,
Yep.
or it can be something that is done unintentionally or accidentally,
Accidental.
as we say.
Exactly.
So to begin with, why don't we talk about when a fighter utilizes his or her head in an intentional manner?
Yeah. Intentional. If we talk about intentional first, the thing that the Birdman talked about in regards to what we have to do is, first of all, in seminars, we train our eyes because a headbutt can happen at any time during a fight. And has there been a situation where I've missed a headbutt? Yes, I've missed it because the fighters were giving it their best, and a punch was thrown, and right after the punch was thrown, the head might have touched or whatever the case may be, and because of that, now I see some blood, and I see some blood because that accidental headbutt caused a cut, and when that happens, we then have to use our mechanics, and our mechanics is the first call time, take the uncut fighter and put him in the neutral corner. Take the fighter that's cut and take him over to where the doctor is, have the doctor examine and look at him. Now, we have some fights that we're going to show you, and in this particular fight, which was an accidental headbutt, we want you to see the results of what the cut looked like. Uh, here's the fight. The referee is Tony Weeks, and Bodu Jack just received an accidental headbutt from Brown. You can see he's a little frustrated. You can see the blood running down the center between the center of his eyes, right down to where the nose is. And Tony has to. You see Tony there looking at it. He takes Jack over to the doctor. The doctor will look at it. Now, what is the doctor looking at? He's looking at the cut, looking at how severe the cut is, but making sure that the cut, the blood, is not running into the eyes. And that's very important because if blood is running into the fighter's eyes, it's going to distort his vision and it's going to make it difficult for him to fight. So the doctor determines that the fight can continue. And as you can see in this situation, he gave Tony the okay to let the fight continue.
Yeah. And one of the things that you also can notice about this is that where this cut is,
Yeah.
and like you said, there's a lot of blood. You can see that, but the cut is in the forehead, and so we know that cut could not have been caused by a punch.
Exactly.
So we know that it was a headbutt.
Exactly.
And
exactly.
And one of the things we can also share with you out there is that some cuts look worse than they are.
Yeah.
Okay. And most of those cuts are cuts that are in the scalp, in the head.
Yeah.
They tend to bleed a lot, but there's no damage
Right.
there. Okay. And as a matter of fact, in this fight, that cut was really bad.
Yes, it was.
However, the fight went to its conclusion.
Yes, it did.
It went to its conclusion because, like you said, the blood was not going into the eye, impairing his vision.
Right.
And so he was able to competently and intelligently defend himself.
Mm-hmm.
And if you can do that, fights go on.
The fight goes on. Another note for you fight fans. If an accidental headbutt takes place before the conclusion of the fourth round, and the doctor looks at it, and the cut is so bad that the fight cannot continue, and the recommendation from the doctor is to stop it, then that fight will end up being a no contest. No winner, no loser. But if there's an accidental headbutt and there is a cut and the doctors say it can continue and it goes to the 6th, 8th, or 9th round, and now the fight has to be stopped because of that cut getting worse, then you go to the scorecards. The judges will have scored that round or the last round that the doctor looked at, and then at that point in time, they have to come. Whoever wins, the winner will be from the scoring of the judges.
Right. Yeah. And the decision will be a technical decision.
Yes.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And that's important because there's definitely a distinctive difference between an accidental foul and the penalties that are assessed to it and an intentional foul, which we're going to get to.
Yes.
But just as a side note, we said that this fight went to its end.
Right.
And one of the things that we like to tease Tony Weeks, who was the referee in this fight, about is what happened to that shirt, Tony? Did you go to the supermarket and buy some Tide to get that thing clean? Because this is what it looked like at the conclusion of that fight.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And again, uh, the blood was not entering the fighter's eye.
Right.
It wasn't impairing his vision.
Mm-hmm.
So the doctor said, let it go. And there it is. Like you said, Tony probably got about 2 or 3 pints of blood on that shirt, but
Yeah.
it was a good fight, good action
Yeah.
packed, and
Yeah.
the right guy won in its conclusion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, there's some other fights out there where there's a distinct intentional action on the part of the fighter, one fighter to the other. And that's totally different than this situation.
Mhm.
Okay? That's when there's an intentional foul. And we're going to see that in the fight that took place between, I think it was Floyd Mayweather and Victor Ortiz.
Victor Ortiz.
Okay.
Yeah.
And we'll let it run, and you will see this is intentional. There, you see it?
Yeah.
Where he literally leaped into him. That's intentional.
Intentional. And you can see how quickly Joe Cortez stepped in to stop the action. He called time. And again, with intentional fouls, referees can take up to 2 points, depending upon if the fighter that received the intentional foul was injured in any way, a cut. Um, when 2 heads come together, that's not a comfortable feeling.
No.
Yeah, it's not, because you don't have a glove on your head like you got gloves on your hands to protect your knuckles. So
Right, yeah.
even if he wasn't cut, it was intentional,
Yeah.
and we don't know if in that situation how bad Mayweather felt that.
Right. Now, to tell the fans out there, Kenny, when there is an intentional foul and the fighter who gets fouled can't continue,
Mhm.
they've been so incapacitated that they can't continue to fight, what then is the responsibility of the referee?
Well, if a fighter gets a intentional headbutt, the mechanics of the referee initially would be to call time, get that fighter over to the doctor so the doctor can examine him. But if that fighter shows a lot of indication that from that intentional headbutt that he can't continue, then the opposing fighter that initiated that intentional headbutt will be disqualified.
Okay. So there's a distinct difference.
Yes.
If the fighter can't continue, they've been so incapacitated by this action, this foul,
Yes.
then that fighter who delivered the blow will be disqualified.
Yes.
However,
Delivered the head.
however, if in fact the fight can continue, he can go on and can continue. He hasn't been significantly his capacity hasn't been
Yes.
diminished. Then we have the option of taking
Points.
okay,
Taking
and
points.
this being an intentional foul would be
it could be up to 2 points.
okay.
That's up to the referee.
Okay.
Yeah. If that fighter got injured with a cut, the referee can take 2 points, as opposed to him initially doing it, as you can see in the video with Victor. Then I believe Joe took 1 point.
Right. And so what this really comes back to is something that I say all the time, especially when we're doing seminars. Two of the things that are most critical for any official in any sport.
Mm-hmm.
Number one, you got to know the rules.
Mm-hmm.
You got to know what the rules are. And then number two, you got to be in the proper position
Yes.
in order to see what it is you need to see.
Yes.
Okay? So, knowledge of the rules and positioning, two critical qualities and that any official needs, and particularly so in boxing. Now, I wanted to bring this out because there's a couple of things that maybe you out there don't know. No official can be in the best position all the time.
Right.
Perfect position all the time.
Right.
And so in some states, I believe that if, say, there was a headbutt, but the referee was not in a position to see it,
Mm-hmm.
in some states, what can the referee do?
The referee can call time, and or at the end of the round, he can poll each judge and ask them, did they see a headbutt?
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And from the response that he gets from those judges, then he can determine and make a decision as to the ruling that he made, if it was the right ruling or not.
Okay, good. Now, because I have a little knowledge of this,
Mm-hmm.
that is something that can be done in some states. But there's something that boxing has finally came on board with
Yes.
that other sports have already been on board with.
Yes.
This thing called instant replay.
Yes, sir.
Okay? And now boxing has brought that aboard.
Yes.
And so one of the tools now that a referee can utilize in a situation like this
Mm-hmm.
is go to the instant replay.
Yes.
I didn't quite see it, but I can go and poll the review officer or look at the instant replay and see what occurred. Now that's going to assist me in making the proper call
Right.
so that the decisions are going to be the proper decision. No
Yes.
fighter is going to be, they're not going to be hampered by something that we as officials have tools to make certain that we get it right.
Yes.
And that's what's important.
It's very important, and for referees to be able to know that there's an instant replay official sitting at ringside. He has a monitor, and he's watching the fight as you do your thing in the ring. And if there's blood, and this has happened to me, all of a sudden I see blood running down the side of the face of a fighter, and I'm trying to think, where did that? When did that happen? Was it a punch or was it a headbutt?
Mm-hmm.
Because the executive director that's sitting ringside, when that round is over, he's looking at me wanting to know an answer,
Mm-hmm.
as well as the corners are wanting to know an answer. So with instant replay, that instant replay official, and it's the same thing with knockdowns.
Mm-hmm.
That instant replay official is in communication with the producer in the truck, and the instant replay official can ask the producer to roll the video back to a certain point in time. He can review it, and if he see otherwise, as opposed to what the referee did not see, that replay official can take that yellow amber light and set it up on the ring apron. And whenever the referee sees a lull in the action, he can call timeout, go over to the replay official, get into a very quick conversation as to what happened,
Mm-hmm.
and then that referee then can go to the judges, make the correction, and to the executive director, so that everybody is on the same page. Because we don't want a fighter to lose because of a mistake that we could have made. And like Birdman said, we're not perfect. If we do it 90% of the time, 95% of the time, right, that 2 or 3% can happen to anybody. It's happened to me. I know it's happened to the Birdman.
Yeah.
So instant replay is a great thing.
Yeah. And the important thing is those two fighters have put in a lot of time
Yes.
preparing themselves
Yes.
for this event. And it is incumbent upon us as officials to do everything that we can to make certain that the right person wins if they deserve that win.
Yes.
We shouldn't do anything that would diminish their ability to come out on a positive end if we can do that.
Exactly. Exactly.
We can, and I say this because there's a lot of people who they're against evolution. And the
Mhm.
bottom line is the sport has evolved.
Yeah.
Okay, and this instant replay has been in use in baseball. It's been in use. It's in use in
Mhm.
practically everything now.
Mhm.
Tennis, volleyball,
Yes.
everything. Why not boxing?
Yes.
And I'm very happy that the state of Nevada, of which we are aligned, was one of the first states
Yes, we
to
were.
come up with a very detailed
Yes.
instant replay system. It's worked well for us,
Yes, it has.
and I imagine that, and I know that a number of people called me and
Mhm.
said, "Hey, Bird, we know you're a referee official. Can you send me some information?" They're trying to do the same thing.
Yeah.
Bottom line is, we as officials have a responsibility to the fighters and to the sport. Number one, to do everything that we can to make sure that the fighters get their proper due and that the sport remains one of the most beautiful sports in the world.
Yes. But very well said. And I want to take what Bird said just a step further, and because we have another video, and this video fight took place a few weeks ago with Miss Holmes, Holly Holmes, fought this fight by the name of Han, I think is her last name, and if you watch that fight, which producers putting on the screen, uh, the, the the accidental headbutt was so subtle, and Bird mentioned it earlier. Being in the right position makes all it makes all the difference in the world. Because if you're not in the right position, you can miss it. Now that fight didn't take place in Nevada, where we do have instant replay.
Yeah.
So for the state that does not, or states that don't have instant replay, I would hope for the protection and safety of the fighters that they do get it, because
Right.
it like you said, football, baseball, every other sport has it, and there's no reason why it should not be in every state.
Right. Yeah.
You know, in the United States.
I agree. And the thing about it is, boxing, let's be honest, past year, sort of been in decline, except for some notable exceptions. But I believe that with the marriage of the Sheik and Mr. Dana White, and their focus on the kinds of fights they want to do, with the rise of popularity of fights, certainly in Europe, these things become even more important because I think boxing is on the rise.
Yeah.
Thank God, boxing is on the rise because it was on a decline. But I think that this year, 2026, is going to see a uptick in the interest and the popularity of the sport, and that's a good thing.
That's a good thing.
Yeah.
And for me to kind of finally get to our point about headbutts, because like Bird mentioned earlier, it could be a righty fighting a lefty, where you get a lot of fighters stepping on each other's foot, but the head things is the most important.
Hmm.
As well as it's happened where it could be two normal guys that are right-handed fighters, and you could still get a headbutt.
Hmm. Hmm.
We talked earlier about a big situation a few years ago with Lennox Lewis and one of the Klitschko's where
Hmm.
uh, I, Chucks, I can't remember if it
Yeah,
was a
yeah.
headbutt or if it was a punch. But
Well,
anyway, it was
it
a
was a
bad
punch.
cut.
Yeah, it was a
It
punch.
was a punch. Okay, it
Yeah,
was a bad,
yeah.
bad cut.
Hmm.
And the doctor let it ride as far as he could, and then he just had to
Yeah.
call a halt to it. Yeah, you're right. It
Hmm.
was
Hmm.
a punch because Klitschko ended up losing the fight.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
But the bottom line is that all cuts are not equal. Okay,
yes,
some are much worse than others. But the critical thing about it is, as long as it does not negatively impact the fighter's ability to intelligently defend themselves,
hmm,
it's a part of the game.
it's a part of the game.
You know,
Yeah,
and we have, for the most part, I certainly do in the state of Nevada. Uh, Very, very competent, skilled ringside physicians, and
yes,
they are they're part of the lifeblood
yes.
of what it is that we do.
Yeah, they
Okay.
are. Yeah, I feel that we got some of the best ring doctors in the sport, and I may be biased, but they've helped me out in many situations, as well as I know they helped you out too, Birdman.
Absolutely.
I hope you enjoyed the official tips that me and Bird shared with you today about
Headbutts.
headbutts, intentional, accidental, and I hope that this will further your knowledge in the sport of boxing. And shucks, I don't really have much to say,
Well,
Mr. Bird. If you got something to
I
finish
just
up on,
I just want to finish up with, not only is this for all of
yes,
you out there, our fans,
yes,
but all of you out there who are young boxing officials or officials who have been around the game for a while, it's not bad to go back and revisit some of these things.
yes.
So, all of this is really to help you, the fan out there, understand a little bit more and a little bit better about this game that we're involved in. And for young officials, take these tips because they're going to be necessary in your development.
Well said. And as we always conclude when we end our show, what I say you must obey.
Let's do this.
Thank you for tuning in to the official call. To join the official squad, subscribe below.
Please support the show by checking out our podcast merchandise. The link is in the description.